Hello friends! This video is gonna be the first video in a series of videos where I just cover all the footage that I took on me and Austin's vacation to Japan and Taiwan. Yeah, so why don't we just get started? Here's day one. It's been a super duper long time since I've flown to Asia, so I was worried that the flight was going to be excruciatingly torturous, but ultimately it wasn't really that bad. Yeah, so our flight was at like 2 p.m.-ish. We arrived a couple hours early. We had boudin at the airport. It was okay slash, yeah, not super good. That's okay. It was October when we went, so as soon as we boarded the flight, I was pleasantly surprised to see that all the headrests had these super cute Halloween decorations. I had a little jack-o'-lantern, Austin had a bat, and about Zip Air, they don't have like TV screens on the back of the seats, but I was perfectly fine with that because I was ready to do some reading. And you know what? I also brought my iPad, so I basically had a little screen anyway. Austin is over here sleeping. He slept nearly the entire flight, and his head was continuously bobbing, just like this in the clip, the whole time. And we made it! I appreciate how Japan has all these characters all over the place. Like, why am I seeing Hatsune Miku at the airport? I don't know, but I love it. We actually just found out about this train line by chatting with one of our friends earlier in the week. We were like, oh yeah, we're going to Japan, we're staying in Ueno. He was like, oh, Ueno, that's great because you can just go there directly with the Skyliner. And I was like, what's the Skyliner? It was pretty late when we arrived in Ueno, probably around 11 p.m. At first, I really wanted to walk around and find a cute little place to eat at. But after walking through this weird alley street with a bunch of rowdy young people, we were like, okay, let's just Google a place and head directly there. After eating, we simply just went back to our hotel. Some rest was much needed after our long travels. And plus we had big plans for the next day. Day 2, I just mentioned that we had big plans for the next day, and those big plans are hanging out with our friends. The only thing is, me and Austin, we're still rocking on SF time. We decided, okay, let's just go out early and do some exploration since there's nothing else to do. In Ueno Station, we walked by this place called Anderson Bakery, which is really funny because we have an Anderson Bakery at home that Austin absolutely loves. But anyway, we decided to stop by since they were open early and nothing else was open, and we got a couple of pastries. I think everyone knows that Japan has a great public transportation system with their trains and frequent buses, whatever. But since the last time I've been here, I've gained a deeper interest and appreciation for that kind of stuff. So this time being back in Japan, it was great to really live in that system and notice just how easy it was to get everywhere. Here we are in Asakusa. We're here pretty early at around like 7:30 a.m. or 8 a.m. Walking down Nakamise Dori at this time, none of the shops are open. It's way too early. Something about Japan that I realized on this trip is nothing is ever open that early. 7 a.m. is too early, and in a lot of cases, 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. are also too early. But that was fine because we got to walk down without a bunch of tourists. Later you'll see that we'll walk down this again and it looks completely different. And of course, when you're at a temple, you gotta draw your fortune. And Austin drew bad fortune. And then I also drew bad fortune. So this water, I'm not sure what this is called, this like water fountain-y spot, you're supposed to like wash your hands and then drink a bit of the water. You're supposed to let the water fall outside of that pool there, so obviously the dirty water doesn't go back in. But I just let it flow back into the pool, and yeah, I realized my mistake, and I was definitely not going to drink that water because I feel like if I did it, then so must have other people, right? Okay, so here we're a bit of a walk away from Sensoji now. I had planned a bunch of specific coffee places to hit up while we were in Japan, and Mocha Coffee is one of them. It was super cute and had this cute like bunny theme going on. Also really foreigner friendly, a bunch of foreigners were there. It was like, foreigners were like the majority of people in this shop, so... Here is where I showcase our special hats. Our hats are double-sided, and on the first side it says "Gomen nasai gaikokujin desu," which means "I'm sorry, I'm a foreigner." And we actually got a lot of Japanese locals complimenting our hats, so we're gonna start a hat compliment counter. Even after coffee, we still had so much time to kill, about an hour, maybe a little bit over an hour, so we were like, let's just go to Skytree. We didn't actually go into the Skytree, but we went into the mall near it. And even when we showed up again, it was still way too early. Half the shops were still not open, but we did find this breakfast place. We saw a bunch of locals lining up, so we were like, this must be like some authentic spot to hit up. Finally, it was time to meet up, and here they are, our beautiful friends Tintin and Winnie. We plan to meet up at Suzukien in Asakusa, which is this matcha ice cream place, and it's famous for having 7 different levels of matcha. After eating our ice cream, it was time to head to our lunch place. So we went through Nakamise Dori again because it was on the way, and it's full of people. It's full, and all the shops are open. It looks totally different than it did when me and Austin were here in the early morning. On our way to lunch, some Japanese guy shouted that he liked our caps, so we're gonna add one to the hat compliment counter here. And also we made it to our lunch spot. Lunch was great. All the food in Japan is just really good by default, so not much else to say. After lunch, we came across the Sanrio gift store. To be honest, I'm not the hugest fan of Hello Kitty. I do like some Sanrio stuff, but yeah, I didn't really get anything here. Also, the cinnamon roll with the circle classes, is it just me or does it look exactly like Austin? Anyway, we walked for a little bit and finally it's time for our scheduled boat ride. So this boat ride was recommended to us by my friend Kazu, and my friend Chris also mentioned this boat ride as a great way to just make our way to Odaiba and connect it with a bunch of activities we could do over there. This boat ride, it's just like a cute little 40 to 45 minute trip down the Sumida River. A lot of these clips are sped up just because if I didn't speed them up, you guys would be sitting here forever, like watching paint dry. They opened up the top deck, so we were able to go outside and feel the breeze. I got this clip because I thought it was funny how many cranes there were just in this like one little spot. We can see Odaiba coming into view. Odaiba has a few famous landmarks, one of them being this building with the ball in it. And we've arrived. Me and Austin had a scheduled Team Lab Planets visit to do today, so after arriving, Tintin and Winnie walked us to our train station before we split up to do our separate activities. And this train line is freaking awesome. It's elevated and then you get this beautiful view of the water as you're riding along. Basically the views on this train are just amazing. I think I enjoyed this train ride more than I enjoyed Team Lab Planets. Anyway, here we are. I'm sure everyone's familiar with Team Labs. If you're not, it's just kind of like this art exhibit that combines your sensory senses. Obviously, I've heard of Team Labs several times throughout the years, and I'm glad I could finally experience it. Here we are at the Infinite Crystal exhibit, very famous. It was cool. There are a lot of people visiting and everyone's a tourist, you know, us too. Now this next exhibit was much more cooler than the lights. We're basically walking in water and they have these projections of fish that the animations of the fish go along with the music. Okay, next exhibit is just this like ball balloon place. This was okay. They're orbular, they're spherical. Okay, and last one is this flower. I don't know what this is called. It's like you go in a dome, and on the ceiling of the dome they project these like flower animations. When you lie down and look up into the dome and see these flowers, it really feels like you're floating in space. It feels like you're floating in space and all these flowers are passing you by, and I really enjoyed this. I think we probably stayed here for like 15, maybe 20 minutes. Just try it out yourself. I know you're not watching this in a dome, but you know, try to get a little into it. Pretend like you're floating with the flowers. So after our little team lab stuff, we were to meet up back with Tintin and Winnie because we were gonna go hit up the Small Worlds Museum. This activity was recommended by my friend Chris. He actually texted me while he was in Japan at this location. It felt very urgent that he let me know that I should hit this place up. And I think it's because of all the Evangelion stuff they have, which I was a big fan of before. In the first part, there's like this cool space station exhibit. By the way, Small World is just a bunch of miniature like displays. It was alright. I wasn't super into it, but it's cool, I guess. This spaceship was about to take off. It like moves and everything, so it's really cool. But the thing is, it was so freaking slow. I sped it up at 400% speed. And you know, it's still not that fast. So you can imagine how long I was standing there waiting. They have a bunch of little interactive parts where you can press a button and it'll turn on some sort of interaction in the display. So this one is, you click I want to pee, and then this little guy out there just starts peeing. Overall, it was just cool to see how much detail is put into these displays. There are, you know, funny little scenes and characters everywhere if you care to look for them. Here's like this Asian city they set up, and it has a crazy amount of stuff in it. This clip is so funny to me because I'm obviously just so dead tired. Oh, and here's the Evangelion part. They put it all the way at the end. This was like another one of those things that just took forever. And we're still waiting. And boom! They're out. The main events of Evangelion are set in this futuristic city of Tokyo called Tokyo 3. And what's cool about it is that the buildings of the city rise out of the earth when the sun rises. So in this display, they rebuilt that kind of scene into the exhibit, which I thought was really cool. They also recreated a few scenes from the show. So here I'm showing Rei sitting by the school swimming pool all by her lonesome. Just like how the city rises, the city also falls. Here is the nighttime transition. At the end, you can also walk through the staff work area where they actually create all the little miniature people, the props, the buildings, whatever. You can see their workspace. They have like 3D printers. We saw a guy there working on his laptop designing a 3D model. It's really cool. And finally, it's time for dinner. We ate at this place called Shokuzen Abe. It is a 1-star Michelin Japanese restaurant. It's been a long day, so I was super excited to eat, but I was also dead tired, so I was not really interacting at all at this point.
I was just trying to survive.
Each course is obviously carefully, meticulously crafted. I'll be honest, it was good. It was very good. But I didn't think it was worth it for the price that we paid. And I was expecting to have my mind blown. My mind was not blown. Again, it was still very good. But I wouldn't go back. Anyway, enjoy the rest of the clips of my food. That's the end of part 1. I really only covered like 1.5 days. I have a bunch more days left to do, so I'll catch y'all in the next video.